For more on what's going on with Brexit, the impact on currencies right now, I'm very pleased to welcome Peter McGuire from XM. He joins me live at the desk this afternoon. Peter, good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. The last we heard really it's really been a moving feast, hasn't it, this week with respect to Brexit. The last we heard really was that the UK government had won that no confidence vote. A very small margin. I think it was only by about 19 votes or so. Where are we up to? What happens next in this whole Brexit saga?
We wait till Monday, Leanne, and I think that then we go to Theresa May comes up with a plan B, and they take on board and over the next 48 hours there's going to be a lot of moving parts that need to be bedded down and to try and get some traction on what she's about to present. So she realises she's got certain issues at the moment to satisfy all parts of Parliament, and everyone's got an opinion. The funny thing is, from an outsider looking in, if it doesn't get approved, but no one's really come up with another alternative. And this is the real dilemma, I think, that everyone's facing. And certainly people in Australia are looking in because it's so many miles away and we're really not a part of that Euro system. But when you go over there and you work through the mechanics of what UK is going through and you talk to people on the street, it's a different sort of agenda. It's a different feeling. And that's where they've got so many issues, I think, at the moment.
Sterling's very fascinating watching sterling at the moment. I was talking earlier with Greg McKenna about this. The way that sterling has been moving, it almost seems that the market is convinced that a no-deal Brexit or a hard Brexit is less likely at this point. The potential for this Brexit delay seems to almost be providing support to sterling. Are you surprised at some of the moves at all that we're watching with the currency?
Well, it's interesting. And I mean, when you're looking at it against euro cross, you're looking at it against US dollar. I mean, the way the US dollar's been over the last matter of 3 months or 2 months has been quite strong. And then you've got the Fed talk. So, again, what's happening as far as globally and what's happening with the US, where does the pound sit? And in some ways, I feel as though it was probably oversold. And then you're looking at, buyers coming in. It's a highly contested market because there's got big volatility swings in that pound. So it attracts many traders, and that's what traders are after. They just want movement. They don't care really if it goes up or down. They just want to see some movement to make some points on the way through.
Speaking of currencies, on the flip side, the euro has remained under pressure. We've heard from ECB President Mario Draghi recently signalling growth in Europe will be slower, required stimulus will be maintained. And I suppose that some of the moves that we're watching in the dollar, it seems to be continuing to sort of capitalise on that euro weakness.
Well, when you're thinking about what, the Eurozone has got its own problems, and when you have a look at, the likes of, say, Greece, what's happening as far as Italy, all of those components need to be factored in. We always talk about the growth engines being Germany and to some extent France. They've got their own inherent issues as far as the yellow jumpers and what's going on as far as yellow jackets in France. So where is euro and where's the long-term projection? Is it going to be still around in 2025? This is, I think, the real dilemma that many traders and many global analysts look at. Is the euro going to survive long-term? And that really creates, again, a level of uncertainty. Big, and again, volatility swings that traders again are after. And I just look at it, and you think of, the volumes that are traded and where traders are really, I find, that attraction as far as opportunity, and that would have to be that euro market at the moment because there's just big swings, and we only look at our own size as far as volumes, very, very highly traded market.
That's the Eurozone. Let's move across to the US because there's so many issues going on there at the moment. We have hopes of a trade deal, although that was very much watered down.
Government shutdowns.
Government shutdown. We have earnings. You just wonder how this is all... well, OK, let's start off with earnings then. What is your expectation? So far, things look to have been OK. Not to forget, we've obviously seen that big sell down to kind of almost reprice and reset ourselves. Do you think that will be the catalyst for the next leg up in markets?
I think the leg up, I feel as though in some ways it was oversold. There was no doubt that huge... from the start of September, October and November really took everyone by surprise. Then really the market capitulated completely in December and it was just smashed. And like any market, they get oversold, and then there's been a rally really since the latter part of the 20th, 23rd or so of December. It's been a nice move to the upside since then, quite strong. And I feel as though that with this earnings the season underway, that's only going to push it further up. I think the S&P's got the potential to take another 20-25 point mark to the upside come this time next week. I wouldn't be surprised at all. And I feel as though the momentum's going to drag it forward. So, like anything, markets can shoot ahead, but those other moving parts as far as the China situation, there is no doubt that a deal has to be, we must be getting closer to a deal. either that or they're going to both walk away from the table and come back and revisit in 3 months, which is going to create, again, more uncertainty. So I feel as though that, you know, China's, it's got its numbers coming out, which is going to be fascinating, that Q4 GDP number on Monday at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon our time, I think.
Okay.
So that'll be interesting from the Aussie dollar standpoint and what's happening as far as China.
In the face of that optimism, though, around trade talks, you obviously have this record-long, historic government shutdown that's underway. What are the implications, the consequences of that when you sort of couple that with what's going on with the trade war situation?
Well, it's unheralded. We've never seen any for this period of time. You know, most are very short, you know, for a matter of days or a week and a half or 2 weeks. There hasn't been too many in history, but, you know, now we're stretching it out. It really demonstrates, I think, President Trump, he's, you know, when he came out and what he said as far as Nancy Pelosi and jets and going to Davos and so on. So it's all got the potential to really create, again, more volatility and the uncertainty. Are we going to get a satisfactory result out of this? Are we going to get, you know, President Trump being satisfied and yes, he can move on? Or is this, we're going to still be talking about this in 2 weeks' time? The 800,000 people that don't get a paycheck, that's pretty harrowing. So you've had your Christmas spending, you've got credit cards, you've got kids going to school and so on, and running motor cars and whatever. It's going to be pretty tough. Yeah,
so many issues. No doubt will continue this week.
Absolutely, and I think that that's going to just add for the next couple of weeks as far as vol.
Yeah. All right, excellent. Peter McGuire, pleasure having you on. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Leanne.